Hi, everybody. Good evening. My name is Fauna Lee Silver. I just got married, so Silver is my new last name. Fauna Lee Nishlit Sinajuni Bashishchin, Natanit, or yeah, Natanit Dashache, Todichini Dashanala. So happy to see you all, got all of you guys logged on. Again, I am from Gallup. I work in Gallup. I just moved back. Before this, I was previously with NRCS in Los Lunas. And so I learned a lot of stuff up there. They have water, we don't. So it was kind of a big change, but up there I was a range con, and then down here in Gallup, I am a soil con. So like I said, I did grow up in Gallup. I went to Wingate, and then from there, I went to SIPI and then down to State. And then after that, started working with NRCS during the summers, and was finally hired on full time. I'm from south of Gallup, Red Rock. So I came from a really big family, 5 brothers and 1 sister. And pretty much when I wasn't in the dorm, I was over I was at home helping my dad and my grandma herd sheep. So that's what we did. And then we did plant and as well. And other than that, let's just get into it, okay? So again, we're talking about NRCS programs. These are the 4 programs that we have currently. The main one that we use in Gallup is EQIP, which is the Environmental Quality Incentives Program. We have RCPP, the Regional Conservation Partnership Program, and those ones are usually with fellowships with soil and water conservation districts and things like that. We have another program called CSP. We use a lot of EQIP and a lot of CSP. CSP is Conservation Stewardship Program, and this is a program where usually once you get done with your EQIP project, you kind of move into CSP, and it's supposed to enhance the practices that you're already currently doing. And then we have WRP, the Wetland Reserve Program. I believe we have a couple of other ones, but these ones are the ones that we deal that I have dealt with off and on. But of course, like I said, EQIP and CSP are the main ones. What do they do? Of course, they provide financial assistance, but it's through cost share agreements. So none of our stuff is 100%. We don't like to talk percentages. People ask us, is it usually like 70-30? All we can do is refer them back to each year's cost docket, and then they can kind of figure out how much their project, if they would like to, start a project with us, how much it would cost. We pay certain things in different units and increments, like fencing. Of course, for that, we pay per foot. Other things such as dirt diversions or ponds, we pay that one per cubic yardage. So it varies, but usually when people come into the office and they're asking for assistance, we kind of go through that with them, and we show them, like how much that they would be out, because then they can take that cost, what NRCS would provide if they got funded, and then they can kind of see how much fencing is costing for them and how much they'll be out of pocket. So what it is not a grant. People always call and say, yeah, I'm part of this, you guys gave me a grant. It is not a grant, it's a cost share agreement. And when it's a cost share agreement is when both parties pay a portion of the actual costs. So of course, like I said, we don't give up to 100%, but at least it's something to offset some of the costs. And then, and it's hard too, because a lot of our cost dockets come from national office, as in Washington, D.C. So they're not seeing the effects until way later, like, of the local prices that are happening in our area. So I know for a long time, people weren't able to get livestock pipeline and fencing posts, and, they were having to go way out of state to get them, and they don't take that into consideration. They're kind of starting to, because we keep requesting more money for some of these specific practices, but it's just a work in progress, and we're hoping to get there. So let's see. Some examples that we do here in Gallup that we have funded is brush management, for pinon juniper and sagebrush. Another example, a practice that we do is ponds and dirt tanks. And these ones we consider them seasonal diversions. So these ones are to help offset erosion that's happening in specific areas. Of course, we do cross fencing, but we don't do boundary fencing, but there's a catch to that. So with the NRCS considers Navajo Nation tribal trust land as private land. And so they are able to actually, we can fence tribal trust land. But we would have to make sure that whoever they're butting up against, that it's not allotted land, BLM, forest. So we would have to go out there, of course, on site and do a site visit and check that out. We also do wells, solar and electric, and windmills as well, livestock pipelines and drinkers. And then we have a couple of wildlife practices that we can incorporate into these. So the way our program works, how people use what they do is they usually come to the office. Usually they start with FSA first and Farm Service Agency. They're our sister agency. And they go through the process of getting all their paperwork turned in, such as, their location, their maps, usually they'll bring in whatever BIA has given them. And then they go from there. And then usually FSA will, they'll tell FSA, oh, I would like a pond, or, I would like cross fencing, things like that. FSA will send them over to our side. With us, what we do is we schedule an initial site visit. We go out to their area, we take a look at the maps that they give us, and we kind of see, I always tell participants when they come in, when we go out to their areas, tell me the good, the bad, the ugly. Like, what would you like to see, this area to do? What do you think, that you can improve on? And, everything, just show me everything. So what we'll do is we'll go around, we'll do the site visit, we'll talk to them about certain practices that we offer at the field office. And from there, we kind of narrow down what they would like, or, their main goal. And so with us, especially in the Gallup area, the mean average, compared to all the other counties and states, it's pretty low when it comes to income standards. So, I try to tell them, let's do a plan where, like, that you can complete it, that you can, it's going to get to a point and we can work on this, in sections, because you can always have more than one contract. And so we do that part, and then we also go over with them with the cost docket, like I was previously explaining, and we kind of see how much that they would be out at that time, and so after that, when they're set with their plan, then what we do is ranking season comes around, and we tell them, I explain to them that after the initial site visit and you figure out what you want to do, then we go into the ranking side of it. I said, we do the ranking. I said, these questions come from national office, and there's a certain points that are within these questions. So we go ahead and go through it, like because our main thing is to address resource concerns. So a practice will be tied up with a resource concern, such as wells. That one is tied up with inadequate livestock watering facilities and such. So they'll get a certain percentage percentage for that, because they're addressing that resource concern. And so then we'll go through the ranking, and then after ranking's done, we get usually like a 2 to 3 month period where they're figuring things out, and then all of a sudden it starts from the highest ranked points, and then they just start going down. So there's different types of funding pools within the rankings. So we have the socially disadvantaged, we have Native American, we have a couple of them. Just the team. So our team is team 1. So it consists of Gallup, Grants, Crown Point, and Aztec. And so there we have a certain pot of money for that. And so then that's a funding pool. Another funding pool is because, like I said, the mean average income is a lot lower. So we have another one called Strike Force. So they get so many chances to see if they rank out. Say that they do rank out. So after that, what we do is we call them in, and then they go ahead and they fill out a contract with us. And we always tell them it's a contract with the federal government. I said, so, be wary of that, when you're signing these things, because so it comes with certain stipulations too. So of course we said that you can't commence, work until an engineering design has been done and the art clearances. And at this time, art clearances, they've been taking a while. We only have 3 people in our agency that are cleared to do certain things. And so at this point, we have people who have been waiting 3 to 4 years to even commence a practice. And that's really hard too, because, I have to explain to them the cost that you're getting right now, it might vary compared to the cost 4 years from or 3 years from now when we're still waiting for those art clearance. So I tell them, of course, we had to wait for those two things. After that, then you can go ahead and commence. But with Navajo Nation, me and Tatiana, she's here with me. With Navajo Nation, it gets, we also have to have certain things. So of course we deal with the district land boards. So in our area, we have District 16. They got to get approvals from District 16 to get a resolution passed in order for them to kind of like proceed with their application. So, or their contract. And then on top of that, of course, we had to look at different land units, make sure that, we're not butting up against allotted land, things like that. So it takes a while, and we have to explain that to the producers a lot. Now that's just for District 16. The other districts, I really don't know their protocols on how they do things, but for District 16, we have to get a resolution passed in order for them to proceed. So once say that we get all of those things done, then they can go ahead and commence a practice. And so the participant who gets the contract is supposed to find their own contractor to do things, or they can do it themselves, such as, putting in their fencing or doing the dirt diversions or the ponds. They can do everything themselves, but they have to make sure that it meets NRCS standard and specs. So what we do is we sit down with them, and then, we go over all the standard and specs that we have for each of these practices. And we let them know, if they need engineering designs, if they have an engineering design, we'll give it to them then. And if they, if we have a contractors list, they can call whoever's on the contractors list, and then, go from there. And we tell them whatever's going on between you and the contractor, that's your thing. I said, we're only allowed to deal with you. Now the contractor can call us to make sure, that they're using the correct well casing or the correct livestock pipeline tape, whether it be PVC or HDPE, things like that. They can totally do that. But when it comes to the main like money part and all of that, that's between them and the contractor. So once they get that completed, say that they completed a well, livestock pipelines and their drinkers, we'll go out, we'll do a quick and we'll make sure that it meets NRCS standard and specs, and then they'll go ahead and get paid out what not technically what was in the contract, but what was done. So they could still have 400 feet of livestock pipeline, but say they only put in technically 250 feet. So we would only pay up to the 250 feet. Same goes for fencing. We could say that they did 2 miles of fencing, but when we go out, or we can plan 2 miles of fencing, and that money would be allocated for that. But if they only put in 1.75 miles of that fence, we're only going to pay up to the 1.75 miles. Now, when it comes to overages, such as take the 2 miles into consideration again, and they go 2.5 miles, we're only allowed to pay up to the two miles. So we let the producer know that as well. So pretty much that, and usually once they get paid out, they're free to do with it. We do let them know that they are subjected to up to 5 years of our area and state offices going out for a spot check to make sure that the practices are still there. So other than that, they can do with it as whatever they want. And we pretty much, that's the program in a gist. So so how it works, I kind of talked about the planning, the application, eligibility, ranking, and then implementing the practices. And of course, everybody's allowed to come into the office and talk with us. At this time, I'm in Las Vegas, New Mexico. I'm helping out with the Hermit's Peak Half Canyon fire that went through last year. So I'm doing a lot of the erosion stuff that's going on up there. But we do have Tatiana Mercado, who's at the office, and she's our range con. And so whenever you guys do come in, she's sitting there with her trusty service dog, Elvis. And so, she'd be happy to help anybody who came in or called. And of course, if there's any questions, feel free to email us as well. So I do have our local field office where it's located. It's in Gallup, New Mexico. It's right beside Verizon, across from McDonald's on the east side. So we are open from 8 to 4:30. I do have a government cell phone. So if we're not in the office, usually you can call that GovCell, and I'll send it as an email. Anybody can contact me on that, or of course, email always works best too. And like I said, Tatiana Mercado is there, so she'd be happy to help anybody. Want to come say hi, Tot?
Hello. So I'm Tatiana Mercado. I'm the rain specialist out here in Gallup, and I would be happy for anyone, even if you have any questions, you're just curious about anything that Fauna said, feel free to come in to get clarification. Thank you.
Other than that, I don't have anything else. Do I have any questions?
Thank you, Fauna. And Tatiana, it's nice to hear from you. If you guys have any questions as far as how to apply or any sort of questions that you may be related to NRCS programs, or if you have applied for one of the NRCS programs and have a question about one of the programs itself, please feel free to unmute yourself. I'll give you guys a minute. Okay, well, while they're still trying to figure out their questions, I do have one of them. So when you said about the District 16, so for them to pass a resolution letter, is that basically to apply for the program? Is that what?
Well, it's for them. I think it's for them to implement a practice, correct?
So it's the implement. A lot of times what they want you to do is just do the resolution for all the practices that you're going to do in the contract. So what we require is that, and this goes actually with all, basically the Eastern Agency with the other districts. I've been working a little bit closer with the land board recently, and so I'm a little bit more familiar at the moment. But so the process that you do is you would request for a audience with the land board during their meeting, and then a request for a resolution, and you would bring in a map and the projects that we planned out. This would most likely be after we do the contract, or after we start contract, if you've been contracted with us, but before you start any of the projects. And so
we're usually letting them know after we go out and do the site visit that they need to contact the local district to talk to them.
Yeah, and it's actually better if they get the resolution before we go into contract, just because we know that there's not going to be any issues later on. So pretty much as soon as they know what projects we're going to do, and it's pretty much set in stone what we're going to do in the contract, I would recommend going to your local land boards or land board representatives and requesting for that resolution. And it's generally, I've seen a lot of positive. One of the things that we've noticed that has become the biggest issue is boundary disputes. So if you have, so say we're going to put in a fence on tribal trust land, which we can help with, but if you have disputes with your neighbors, or with even like any of the people that live on the land, I would make sure that you have those disputes resolved before you go into contract, because we've actually had to cancel contracts because of those disputes, or they have been very prolonged. So make sure that you're very transparent and you're talking to your neighbors and the people that live on the permitted land as well.
Okay. All right. And that leads me to my next question. So for producers, especially in the Eastern and maybe in the Northern as well, they'll apply for those NRCS programs if they're going through a probate process or a transfer process. Can they still apply for the NRCS when they're still going through those type of processes?
So when they're going through probate, we have to have their name on the document and on the permits. So you would have to wait until after that is finished. But you can come to us to start looking into the program and what they need, and maybe we could even do a site visit just to start getting them thinking about what projects they want to do once the probate is over and they have that transitioned into their name. But as of now, we cannot go into contract unless it's been completely finished.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So, and this one is like not probate or process or those any transfer related. But as far as if someone, say a producer is new to the program or your NRCS programs, what would you suggest them to do first if they decide to apply for, say, like equip? Do they go straight to your office and say that?
Yes.
Yeah, they could. Or like I said, of course, they can go to FSA and get all their papers done first, because like there are sister agencies, so no matter what, they're going to have to go there first, or there. But they can come to us. We can talk to them. I mean, we can go out for a site visit. We can do other things. Even if we're not able to help them at that time, then we can do technical assistance.
Okay. So is there any
Yep.
any sort of like documents that they have to have on hand before they enter your office or FSA?
If as long as they have a map of the area and their permit and their BIA, sometimes a lot of them are given their conservation plans. I mean, then we can go through it then and see what they would like to do.
That makes it a lot smoother process
Yeah.
for us to be able to help them right away.
Yeah, and seeing like where they're actually at and located and stuff.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, thank you, Fauna and Tatiana. So for answering my questions. So for those of you that are on here on the participants list, if you have any questions whatsoever, please unmute yourself or you can insert them in the chat box.
Hi, this is Marge Lantana. Thank you for the presentation. I just have a question on how District 16 writes the resolution. Is it a resolution just recommending the permittee to pursue?
I think it's just to, from what I understand, I think it's just to let them know like these projects are going up. That's what I'm guessing.
According to the BIA, so these specifically have to do with if you are on tribal trust land. If you're on allotted lands, there's another process that you have to do. Yeah, we also have to get permission with BIA and such. But with tribal trust lands, it's a part of the Navajo code that they have to basically approve the projects that are being implemented on the tribal trust land. And like I said, generally it goes, and these are so once you have projects, so you're gonna have a map and so say for example, if you want to do some pinyon and juniper thinning along with a well system, what we'd do is we'd have a map, we'd have these projects planned, and then you would give it to the land board and ask for approval for those projects. And that's what the resolution would be, is basically approval that you can move forward with this.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Mhm.
I was just thinking that's another layer of red tape.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Unfortunately,
Okay.
I mean, it's part of the Navajo code and so we have to follow Navajo policy first.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
That goes for all Eastern, not just District 16, right?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not really familiar with the rest, the bigger areas. But yeah, Eastern Agency, that is for sure.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's something interesting because it takes that's just another step, like what Marge mentioned.
Yeah.
Another-
Well, and then another thing is that when so not only do we need to get approval, so say if you want to get a brush management project done, we have to go through make sure that the forestry department approves it, and then we also have to make sure the biology department approves it. But a lot of times those are things that we will work with, and this is like once a contract is in, but specifically the land board approval, that we have to put in the hands of the participant, because and it's actually because of privacy laws, we cannot give information that the kind of information that they're wanting, we can't give to them. So we have to have you do the request. But the other two, we would be able to work with the participant and the other departments.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Mhm. Yeah.
Process.
It is, but you know, we're willing to do it if the participant's willing to be patient and work with us. We're willing to go through all these hurdles and red tapes to get these projects on the ground.
That's nice. Okay, that's good to hear. If they're still on here, like I said, feel free to unmute yourself or insert your question in the chat box. So I'll give you guys a minute or so. If not, I know Tatiana and Fauna, I know you guys have another place to be right now at 6, but if there are no other questions, we'll go ahead and proceed. If you guys have any questions for maybe later down this evening and just maybe flew your mind right now, but you want to get in contact with them, Fauna or Tatiana, if you guys have like a contact info list that you can insert in the chat box for them to get a hold of an office line, that would be great. That would be helpful. While you're doing that, like I said, feel free to unmute yourself if you have any questions. Okay. All right. Well, okay, hold on. So I thought that was one of you guys that something. So
yeah, we're putting in our info right now.
all right. All right. So there's a Q&A tab on you guys' end if you guys can find it. But there's a comment for you guys. This from Mr. Redshirt, I believe.
Okay, so the Shiprock office, I believe you would have to go out of the Flagstaff field office, or not Flagstaff. Not Fort Defiance.
It's in Arizona.
Yeah, it's in Arizona. I'm sorry. St. Michael's. There you go.
Michael's,
you would have to go out of the St. Michael's, and I believe that person is Ivan. And what you can do too is email us, and I can send it to Ivan as well. That's what we've been doing. We have a lot of people asking from Shiprock and Tohatchee, but right at Tohatchee area, that's where our jurisdiction ends, and then from there it's either Aztec or St. Michael's. So I can send you up that way too.
So if you look at it, if you're in an area that's where it's solid Navajo reservation, that would be the St. Michael's. But if you're kind of in that area where there's a lot of checkerboard land, that's what we have, all of that area. Yeah, us in Crown Point.
Oh, okay. I know there are some questions. I know some producers are wondering if those that reside in Shiprock, they go to Aztec office, but what they find out is that their office is in St. Michael's.
Yeah.
They're trying to make it's in the process, but they're trying to get it to where there's some, like, eventually that some of the St. Michael's would come up to the Aztec office once a week or so, to be able to help and make it a little bit easier for those folks. But as of now, that's not I haven't heard anything about it yet. But it's in the process.
Well, they're talking about
but we have to work with Arizona, and
oh wow. Well, hopefully that does proceed, and you guys perhaps maybe, I mean, that would be nice, especially for those that reside in Shiprock at the office, since it's way closer to them than St. Michael's. So then hopefully the process goes pretty good for you guys to get all the McKinley and Arizona County to come down to Aztec. But if there are no other questions, thank you, Marilyn. Yep, Marilyn says thank you to you guys, Fauna and Tatiana.
Okay. All right. All right, well, thank you guys. We got to head out for our next meeting, but I appreciate the invite. And of course, if you guys have any other questions, just let us know, okay?
Okay. All right. Well, I better let you guys go. You guys can hop off now if that's what you guys
Okay.
can do. Well, obviously you can, but thank you for coming.
For letting us present.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye. All right. Well, for those of you that are still on here, just to let you know that next week we have regenerative agriculture. So with both old school organic farming, and they're going to be talking about principles and practices. This is going to be coming from Tom Voss. He's a program director, Southwest Grain Collaborative from New Mexico State University. So he's going to be talking about regenerative agriculture and principles and practices of them. And this will be on July 19th from 5:30 to 6:30. And as far as what I have mentioned from the beginning for our livestock first aid training, of course, we had pretty much a good success on the one from June that was hosted in Crown Point. Just to let you guys know, we have a second one that's going to be held at not Dene College. Sorry about that. Disregard the location right there. Forgot to correct it. My mistake. But this will be held at Shiprock Chapter House in Shiprock, New Mexico. So this is going to be hosted on August 4th from 9 to 4. If you guys just go ahead and head over to our Facebook page at Navajo Sustainable Agriculture Project, you'll find a link there on this flyer. Of course, it will have an updated location on there on our Facebook page. And presenter is going to be by Dr. Wenzel. He's our NMSU Extension veterinarian. And those of you that have not attended our livestock first aid training from June, you'll actually have a good hands-on vaccine demonstration for all three species, from cattle to horses and to sheep. So for those that have participated in June, just to let you guys know, if you plan on attending this upcoming one for August, that the first people that have attended or decide to attend their first time at this training will be receiving a bag for the full day's training. But those of you that may have applied and registered and attended the June training, just to let you guys know that we'll try and get as much as bags as to everyone else. But for those that have attended for the first time to this training, they'll be receiving a bag. So limited to one bag per family as well. Lunch will be provided, and it is in a collaborative effort with Dene College Land Grant Office. So just to let you guys know, this is going to be hosted on August 4th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And you guys, most of you may known from back on our monthly newsletters, we hired a couple people to be on our team. They're going to be our technicians. So we have collaborated with Dene College Land Grant to provide a conservation planning program. So those of you that are completing your grazing permits, renewing them, or transferring them whatsoever, and need some assistance in developing a conservation plan, we are here to assist you, and it's free of charge. This includes both one-on-one tech assistance with our producer, either they're an Eastern or Northern Navajo agency. And we also provide workshops. So if you are on a farm board or you're part of the land board in whichever Eastern or Northern district, we can provide workshop, conservation planning workshop assistance. So if you guys are interested in this, especially one-on-one, our email is located just right there in blue, nsaproject@nmsu.edu, and we'll get you guys started. So that's our conservation planning program. So those of you that know producers that are in need of assistance, send them our way, and that's our email right there to get a hold of us. But other than that, whatever that I have just mentioned this past 30 minutes, basically shared with you who we are as a project, shared with you the conservation planning program. There are templates on there as well from Dene College Land Grant Office that they have incorporated as far as their template. So it's really nice, the template. It's really thought out. So if you guys want to look at that as well, feel free. And our upcoming events are posted. So all the way up to August, if you guys want to check that out, go to our upcoming events. Our livestock first aid training is on there as well. So if you guys want to register on our website, feel free. So there's 2 ways, Facebook or our website. And webinars and workshops. So this webinar is recorded just as all of our previous webinars have been recorded, and they are shared to our Facebook page, and they're also on our YouTube channel. And if you guys are not into YouTube, they're on our website as well. So there's many ways to retrieve our webinar videos. So as well as our newsletters, you guys can subscribe to that on our website as well. USDA programs, directories, informations are all on there and up to date. We're part of the New Mexico State University Cooperative Extension Service. We're also funded by the USDA Outreach and Assistance for Native Farmers and Ranchers and Veteran Farmers and Ranchers program. So we're also in a collaborative effort with our main project partners, 2 of them, which is the Dene College Land Grant Office, that you see a lot of their logos on our flyers, and as well as COPE, which stands for Community Outreach and Patient Empowerment. You all may have witnessed some of our previous presentations with Carol Palmer. So she's a COPE food specialist. She's very knowledgeable in the garden aspect of things. So she provides a lot of great information, and she presented last week as well. But moving forward, so moving on to our goals and objectives of the NSA project is mainly to help producers improve their operations, profitability, and sustainability through our educational programs and technical assistance for those residing in the McKinley, San Juan, and Cibola counties. So to kind of expand on the educational program aspect of things, we provide weekly presentations such as our weekly webinars that we alternate every week. So from livestock to farming, crops, livestock, and so forth. And like I mentioned, just not too long ago, with the project partners that we collaborate with, especially Dene College Land Grant Office, we do a lot of, we are trying to do a lot of bring out a lot of in-person presentations to you guys, especially the ones that we just began this past month for the livestock first aid training. So I'll discuss more about the livestock first aid training when we get down closer to the evening, when we do some housekeeping. So we have another training coming up as well. But other than that, we also provide increased Navajo farmers' knowledge and use of USDA programs, such as this evening, and services and those of other resource providers. And lastly, increasing the local production and consumption of fresh fruits and vegetables and healthy foods by Navajo families and individuals through our gardening programs.